All right, so we're going to be reacting to SNEAKO getting banned.
This is another kind of blanket ban in the likes of what happened to Andrew Tate a few weeks ago.
I'm in London. I just left Bucharest, Romania. Just got banned on YouTube. They banned me on Twitter and TikTok as well. But YouTube was a big one. I've been on there since I was 13. Ronnie, you know what that's like. You probably grew up on this platform too, and we're around the same age. So they want me to be broke. They froze my Google AdSense account. They owe me 6 figures. So
damn.
They want me to be dumb, weak, sad, broke. And all you have to do is just keep pushing forward. Focus on the purpose, the greater message, and that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, first reaction, come on, SNEAKO. You know what's going to happen. You have to chalk it up to two things, whether it be his affiliation with Andrew Tate or people reacting to him saying and posting videos about saying he should get banned. And then he's also been talking about some conspiracy theories.
So SNEAKO started, he said 2013 in this clip. He just made all types of like creative videos from that point on his main channel, SNEAKO. He did a lot of stuff where he would just go around New York City where he's from and like do interviews or just creative pieces where he has an idea about some concept and like talks about his philosophies. As a video creator myself, I was very much inspired by SNEAKO. He's very creative. He's a very creative dude. His editing skills are very good as well. Right. He actually inspired me to do an animation style for one of a fashion film I made. He was the first person I saw do that. I was like, damn, that looks so cool. It doesn't look too difficult to do, so I'm gonna do that too. Sometime this year, he started changing his content format. He started live streaming more and started doing this on a new channel called SNEAKO with an H in the middle now. And what happened was YouTube banned all of them and took down all his videos from both channels, even though arguably the new channel was the one with what you might consider inappropriate content. But what have you seen about stuff he's been talking about this year? Because I'll be honest, I haven't really consumed a lot of his stuff this year.
I think there's a pyramid to least offensive, most offensive.
All right.
If we're going to start at the bottom of the pyramid, let's start with red pill content, like that whole rhetoric of, you know, men should be able to date as many people as they want and the girl has to be faithful. Then you get into the middle of it and maybe it's a bit more talking about the LGBTQ, you know, feminism. I'd say that level. I think the top level is almost this sense of questioning the government. But I think when you get to that level of like really trying to wake people up to this level of your own independence or perceived independence, I think people on top are going to be like, no. I mean, I'm getting to conspiracy now, but I'm just saying what he's been speaking. I could be missing him on some points. Leave a comment if I miss anything more, but
he's a guy who's a challenging guy. Like he'll challenge, you know, widely held beliefs and opinions, even if it's like it's more controversial or it's the idea is a bit more out there or something people would kind of get mad at. And I found that super refreshing, to be honest, when I'd watch his videos when I was younger. I sort of feel like a lot of young people and maybe even more young men need a bit of this sort of energy from creators, this sort of unfiltered, controversial and like just sort of like challenging energy. You don't have to agree with everything SNEAKO says, and I don't agree with everything he says for sure. But at the same time, I think it's important to have people like him that are on these social media platforms to really kind of balance out people's mindsets and even sometimes motivate young men to do things that might not be what their family or society around them is telling them they have to do, you know, to kind of take their own destiny into their control. And I think he's a very good motivator for that. And I think a lot of people don't talk about that upside of creators like him. They only talk about this downside of like, oh, there's these young men that are obsessed with him and they're literally being brainwashed. And they say the same thing with Tate. And it just sort of makes me think that these criticisms are not respecting the viewers to be able to make up their own minds and consume different types of content. I think we need to learn to give more faith to especially young men to be able to like consume stuff like this and actually still make up their own minds and not be brainwashed. Because I think there's a lot less of that quote unquote brainwashing than you think. Young people are so good at filtering through so much bullshit these days. You know what I mean? Like they're way better than us and even like older people by far, because they just grew up with the internet from a super young age. So they see all kinds of stuff, you know? We got to trust them to be able to like figure this stuff out for their own and not like censoring all the stuff that they could come across. What do you think?
Facts, man.
Yeah.
I just find it crazy. I think a good analogy is, say third grade, 2003. I'm 94, so it was 2003. The new GTA just came out. And all your friends whose parents don't care, or they got an older brother or an older sibling, cousin, they get the game. Teachers are saying, yeah, GTA is bad and stuff like that. You're still curious though, because they're telling you this is bad, this isn't good for you. But at the same time, people are having fun playing GTA games pretty much. So you're gonna find a way almost to get this game, to acquire it, to at least play it. I think when you live in a society that's almost like over-parenting that way, like you can't watch this, you can't listen to Andrew Tate, you can't listen to SNEAKO, it almost does the opposite effect where you're gonna get a lot more men who will break the rule, who will go to the extreme. I think you have to be able to have poison to a degree, opposition, and the opposition has to be available to you. Because if you don't have opposition, you're only fed one side, once you never really have a free choice. You never really learn who you are as a person. You never really know why you do the things you do, whether that be good or bad. So I think it's good to have a space like the SNEAKOs and the Tates where it's an extreme, maybe it's very entertaining, it's entertainment too, but it's also a message that wants to help young men, that wants to give people, young men specifically, a bit more voice and control of their lives.
Tate, for example, would say, from what I've seen, is he would say that young men are considered dangerous to the power structures because they're the people, I guess, that could disrupt things. That's the conspiracy, right? Is that the government or powerful organizations or tech companies need to suppress the sort of ambition and like critical thinking and like all this stuff of young men because it's dangerous to their power. I think that can be a conspiracy that can be overblown. I don't think there's anybody that's up there. It's like, we need to do this to young men. I think it's not like a conscious effort. I like what you said about needing a bit of poison, especially when you're younger. And I think one of the reasons that you need content creators that are saying things that are all over the spectrum or that are just strong opinions in different directions is because you're going to experience that in life when you're older. Like when you're at work and when you're, just going about your life, meeting people from different backgrounds. If you've never experienced alternating points of view as a kid, and then you experience them all once you go out on your own as an adult, you're not going to know how to integrate them into your life or into your thought processes or even deal with these types of people that are different from the way you were raised. And so it's sort of like thinking about it in terms of when there's a flu, you want a child to get the flu when they're younger so they can basically develop I don't know if it's antibodies or they can, develop some sort of protection against getting it when they're older. And the same thing goes for content. You can't protect kids against this stuff because they're going to experience it eventually, and it might be too late for them to be able to learn how to handle it if they're too old.
Even if you disagree with SNEAKO, banning him is not going to solve the problem. And you just got to allow yourself to disagree. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable with point of views. I have people I listen to and I watch that I would say I'm opposite belief-wise, but they help me construct better arguments for what I believe. And they help me to become a more quality listener. Because I think one thing that we're not doing well as a society is listening. I think we come into conversations with our own assumptions, and then we have the worst faith about people when interacting with them. Because all we see on the internet is, this guy's canceled because they believe this or that, or they did this. Like, no, you gotta be able to sit with the person on the cross and see where they're coming from. Otherwise, you might just end up finding yourself on that same cross as years go by, you know? So don't be harsh on people, you know?
I think that it's a dangerous precedent that all the social media companies can ban somebody at the same time. And that's something that might start off being used in terms of protecting the kids, and I do think there's an argument for that, but it's eventually going to be used to serve interests, and it probably already is to serve interests of whoever's in power. So I just don't like that precedent, and I think there's also a space for entertainment. That's the last point I would make, is sometimes some of the stuff that people get triggered by is just comedy. Like, don't take it so seriously. Go live your life. Like, that's the thing that blows my mind, is how worked up people get about something some random person on the internet said. It's like, if that's what you really are so focused on, like, what else do you got going on in your life? Like, go like do something else. Like, it's not that deep. So that's my takeaway.
Solid.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. See you guys next time.
All right.